All right, guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. We're out here, we're getting posted up. Just wanted to check out this thing that I got here. Check this thing out. This is a 140 I bought. It's got a lot of goofy stuff on it. Look at these silly headlights. So when you put a big old stack, but they turned it down. So the idea here, this isn't just a normal 140. This is a pretty special tractor in my opinion, and one of my favorites, one of my most significant finds, if you will. So from what I've been told, these tractors were shipped from Horicon, Wisconsin to France, and then either trucked or trained from France to Mannheim, Germany. So if you don't know, Mannheim, Germany is where John Deere's European headquarters are. They have a factory there that makes things like the forage harvesters and whatnot. In the 60s and 70s, when they bought lands, they started to bring over some things from America and shipped them over there for the European market. At the time, it was, I'm sure, quite primitive, and not a lot got changed, and not a lot of new things came out as they first bought lands. The idea here is that it was shipped like any other 140. It was shipped over there as a plain Jane normal 140H3. I believe this is a 72 model. And the idea is that at that time, this tractor was then adapted in Mannheim with a special headlight panel. So this is actually metal. And this is all correct for a German 110 or 112 or 120, 140. You have a headlight panel that's made out of metal. I've seen these with two-legged like this, or the early four-legged headlight panel. The panel itself is the same, it's just a different sticker that they slapped on it. I'm sure 68, 69, they had some leftover four-legged stickers. But these are correct headlights. Unlike the American ones, these are like, you actually use the whole bulb instead of covering half of it. But there's actually two bulbs in here, one for low beams and one for high beams. So this is special to the German tractors. And then there's different, there's special metal mounts here that bolt on these on the back side of the hood that have these goofy turn signals here. So these are actually turn signals on both sides, front on either side of the hood. And then this is an original exhaust, down exhaust. These were correct for these. I don't know exactly why they put them on. I don't know if it was sound regulations back then. And then I don't know if it was like, it was surely not a safety thing considering it blows all the hot exhaust right onto the mower deck that I'm sure would be covered in grass. Another thing that's special about these tractors is they actually have a German serial tag. So you can see type 140 and then it has the serial number. So it's 46532. M. So this tag was put on here, riveted on here in Germany in probably 72 or possibly even late 71, 72 or possibly early 73 by the time we got over there. So this serial number here matches the original serial tag like all 140s have. And then also, it's very hard to read, but probably German overthinking, they put the serial number stamped into the frame right here. It's kind of hard to pick up on the camera. However, it's there. The idea, I would assume, is that German, in typical overthinking fashion, made sure that there was 3 serial numbers on a vehicle of any road going thing. So you had the normal serial tag, the German serial tag, and then the stamping on the frame, probably for anti-theft measures and whatnot. So just to show, there is just the normal serial tag. It's not really any stamp different. The 6 is funny in the type code because that's just how they were going down the assembly line. I'm sure that this tractor didn't go down the assembly line any different than any other tractor because it left that assembly line, no different than any of the other ones did. One of the cool things about this is the lights. I have the battery charger here, jump pack. This is a German battery, Motorcraft. I didn't want to change it just because of what it is. However, with the jump pack, we got it powered up. So the big switch here has quite a few positions. This one is low beams. And then this is high beams. On both of those, we have running taillights. So your red lights are your running taillights, and then the top ambers are your turn signals that flash. Also, along with your taillights running all the time with your headlights, you have a license plate light. So you can see the license plate mount, and that is a correct original German license plate. If anybody's watching this from Europe or Germany or wherever, somewhere in Europe, you can actually tell me, because I don't know, where this license plate is from based on the letters and numbers. I think there's different jurisdictions based on what the letters and numbers are. I don't know exactly where this one is from. However, this one I know you can tell from what I've been told. So we can use your turn signal switch here. You can see goes both ways. So we can see it flashing here along with the headlights on. It's pretty neat to see this. Up front's going. So this is where the normal headlight switch is, and then this would be where the cigarette lighter is. There's no cigarette lighter. This is actually four-way hazards. So you can see so moving to the back here, you can see, as I trip over everything else, that there is basically a taillight panel. Mounts where the original taillights go in those mounting holes. It's just sheet metal basically. The idea is that these mount using bolts here. This is just bent sheet metal that holds the taillights on, and then the license plate. So in Germany, you have to have a license plate and all these turn signals and lights and whatnot to formulate to their regulations over there. On a 140 like this, your taillight panel stops here, and then it's the license plate is risen up and then starts again over here. And the reason for that is for access to, say, a 3-point or a rototiller or something like that. On a 110 or 112, this is all one solid piece, and then this is down lower. Basically, this is in line with the bottom of here. Another thing that's different is these spindle hitches that actually rotate and has a pin and bolts on 4 bolts. So in the rear hitch plate on the tractor, there's actually 4 bolt holes. If I can zoom in here, you can see down in there, there's 4 bolt holes. That's what this normally goes on. And then you have a trailer plug. So just like a car, if I can get it in there, you can see a trailer plug there. So I believe that 80 carts actually had a special hitch that got bolted into it, into the normal trailer hitch on the trailer, that would allow it to get used with this hitch, and then actually have lights that would plug in here. And the idea is that when you turn your tractor's turn signals on and lights on, your 80 carts lights would go on. Again, for any time you're driving it down the road, that's what you need over there. It's a little weird to us Americans, but also I'm sure it's just normal for everybody in Europe. This particular tractor is very neat because it has an optional European PTO setup. So Similar to a 33 tiller PTO, double sheave pulley here ran off the back of the transmission. Nothing's really special about it, but this was the right size pulley, I guess, that they used. And then a double sheave pulley here hooked to a, I think it's 6 spline or 8 spline, a normal 540 PTO. Now, I don't know exactly the RPMs that this is running. I've never measured it, but it's intriguing nonetheless. With a bearing pressed in here, and then a tensioner set up very similar to a 33 tiller. I do not know exactly what this is going off of or made to ran at the time, but I believe it was a Sperber built. Sperber was a company over in Europe that built a lot of attachments for these, and they I would assume that that PTO would run a broadcast spreader and whatnot. This one has a 4-way hazard one. I don't know if that was standard on all of them. There's a lot of discrepancies, and not a lot of these things are identical in features. It's kind of interesting how they aren't all the same. However, there's a lot of small differences between them all. This one here has these little tabs that are screwed into the fender pan. I believe that is for a German canopy, like a soft-sided cab, which is kind of neat. However, I don't have anything else. I believe that it was welded on here because it's on both sides of the taillight panel, that you can tell somebody had something welded here and ground it off. I don't know, again, if that was factory or if that was something somebody else did or what. One of the things that is consistent on these, especially on the hydrostat tractors, is on these levers here, this little tab that you lift up and turn, if I can get it one-handed. And the idea is that holds your H3 levers, or if it's an H1 lever, it holds it so when you're going down the road, you can't accidentally do that. I can't say that anybody's ever actually done that without one of these. However, it's German, and that's what they like doing, is to overcomplicate things. Pretty neat though, but this one has it. I usually just leave it there, keep tension off of this. This tractor is a pretty nice original tractor. It's been touched up with spray paint and whatnot. I wish it had fender pan decal here. There isn't one on this tractor. I've seen them in German. So it has, when these tractors left Horicon, they had the factory original American fender pan decal. Then you can actually see on some of them where they put the German one over top, and along the edges you can see just barely where the original one was, and they put theirs on top. And it's basically just a translated version of the same thing, but it is in German. This dash decal is the same. I can't read German, but this says Torx. I don't know if that's a manufacturer or not. Leave it down below in the comments. If anybody has any more information on it, please comment on this. Tell me I'm stupid, and tell me what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing right. So under the hood, roughly the same, except for a lot more wires. You have your both bulbs wiring for all that, all your turn signals on both sides. This one here, again, there's not a lot of consistency. So this one actually has Vorsicht. I'm still learning German. A friend of mine's helping me. He called me Arschloch. I believe that's a term of endearment, but I don't know exactly. This one here has Vorsicht on it, which is pretty cool. So everything else is in German on it. Again, some of them have them. Some of them have Achtung, and then some of them just have standard American English decals on it, just like any other 140. So this tractor has a German battery in it. It's just a slightly different style. I left it in there, it's dead. That's why I have a jump pack on it all the time, but I don't use these that much. You can see the flasher module, so that internally makes your turn signal switch flash the lights. If you notice here, this turn signal switch is broken. I'm 6'3". My knee knocked that off one day. Very, very upset. Knocked that and broke the piece of plastic. It should be about that long. Snap that off. So I've actually been able to source another one of these. Not very easy to do. I had it shipped in from Europe, just like the tractor. I keep this one on basically because if I put a new one on, I'm just going to break that one off. So I figured I'd leave the broken one on and keep the new one for spare. This is a Bosch fuse block. Basically runs all of your lights and whatnot off of this. So if there's any shorts or anything, it's just a thumb screw here in the middle that holds the cover on, and you can take it off and access the German fuses. So I've been told these were used on a lot of European cars like Volkswagens and whatnot. The block itself is Bosch, I believe, and you can still get the fuses. So it's not a terribly big deal. I bought a fuse kit on Amazon for like 10 bucks. So a lot of these times these covers are missing, which is normal for a 50-year-old lawnmower for things to be missing or changed or whatever. I have not messed with the wiring. It's a bit of a rat's nest in there. However, everything seems to work, so I don't really want to mess with it. Another thing that I've noticed, this one here has English air cleaner decal. I've seen those in German as well. So again, there's not a lot of consistency on these. But nonetheless, it's still a cool tractor that has a lot of special parts. So the idea is I bought this tractor in Germany from another collector in Germany who has a few of these and then a few different other models and whatnot. We ended up being able to ship it over to Europe, or from Europe to America here, and I have it here in Pennsylvania, and I've enjoyed it for a few years now. Pretty cool tractor. Not a lot of people realize that John Deere even did something like this. A lot of times people will look at it at a show and whatnot and say, wow, that's a goofy light setup, and they think that I did it and have no clue that it was a factory thing that was actually shipped over to Europe, and then I ended up buying it and bringing it back over here. So we actually were able to take this to the 2018 Horicon show. So it's pretty neat, in my opinion, that this tractor physically was made there, assembled there by American workers in Horicon, Wisconsin, with thought and craft in mind, shipped to Europe across the entire ocean to France, trucked to Germany, then 40 years, 50 years later, was then put on a container, put in a container and on a boat and shipped back across the same ocean and brought here to Pennsylvania, and then shipped from Pennsylvania to Horicon, Wisconsin, and right back to where it exactly started. So this tractor has definitely seen some transport miles, whether it be by plane, by boat, or automobile. This has seen it all, but pretty neat. Let me know what you guys think, what you want to see more of, and hope you enjoy it.